Your family can't wait around for your internet to catch up with your lifestyle. You need the mind-blowing speed you can only get with Revon broadband internet.
Mom? Mommy?
With speeds up to 70 megabits per second. Watch more, listen more, talk more, work more, and play more, all at the same time. Switch to Revon today and get 3 months free installation, and a chance to win a grand prize worth more than $5,000. Revon broadband internet. What are you waiting for? Join the revolution.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into MB12, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, torrential rain and flooding spells disaster for many New Providence residents. We hit the ground today as they try to salvage what's left of their belongings. Plus, police defending their emergency response. We've got those stories and so much more coming up. I'm Paige McCartney, and MB12 starts right now. Welcome once again to MB12. As severe thunderstorms dumped as many as 15 inches of rain on some parts of New Providence, many residents in Pinewood Gardens and Soldier Road were forced to sleep in their vehicles last night, including one family with 6 small children forced to flee their home due to flooding. In some houses in low-lying areas, the water was waist deep. However, for other residents, that wasn't an option because their cars were submerged in water. As a result, one teenage boy slept on his family's roof. Impacted families lashed out at police and government officials, claiming they did not respond to their cries for help. Vani Toot visited several homes this morning, and she filed this report.
If you thought street flooding was bad, we're inside Jermaine Pratt's home, where he woke up to about 5 inches of rain inside his house. As you can see, the bottom of this chair is underwater. So is the blue couch. He says he will have to replace most of the things inside this house. At around 9 p.m., rainwater began seeping into the police officer's home on Pigeon Plum Street off Pinewood Gardens. By 10:30, he says it was flooded, soaking his carpets and the furniture in his bedroom, living room, and kitchen.
The bed is underwater, the fridge, the freezer, practically everything is underwater.
Sitting in a wooden chair with his bare feet underwater, Pratt marveled at the extensive damage done to his home in just a few hours. The 40-year-old says his home of 27 years has been flooded before, but it's never been this bad.
The last time it happened was about 8 years ago, I think. It was Hurricane Michelle. That was the last time it happened. No, normally when it rained, the water will go as far as the carport, but this time it came straight inside.
Here on Saffron Street in Pinewood Gardens, one family, including 6 children, was forced to sleep in this black SUV parked here after their home was flooded.
Listen to me, I was calling the police from after 11 o'clock for emergency, some kind of open place for us to get to, for us to get in. You understand? When the water started to rise, I tell everybody get up because it's time for the children. We can't leave the children in the house. You understand? We had electrical plugs and everything in. And we had no help.
Oh, BC didn't even turn the water off. If they turn the light off, then you could probably go in to do something. So you can't even do nothing.
You understand? But you know there's the struggle with 6 children.
Pinewood Gardens looked more like Pinewood Lakes, with partially submerged vehicles stuck in the middle of the street. Speaking with NB12 while standing on the top of a car, angry residents claimed police did not respond to their pleas for help.
I called the police station
be careful.
And asked them if they have any shelter open for us to get to. Nobody responded.
To make matters worse, residents say motorists continue to speed through their neighborhood, pushing even more muddy water into their flooded homes. Over on Soldier Road, 44-year-old Kevin Johnson was also forced to sleep in his vehicle last night. He estimates he lost thousands of dollars worth of valuables. His hallway was so flooded, the water reaches his thighs.
Right now, I dead bug because I was then low on cash and when my house in a low, fell down inside a hole, and this rain come again. I just like my $100 gone down the drain because everything I buy for the week underwater. Now I don't know how I eat the rest of the week.
So your groceries were destroyed. How did that happen?
The flood, because the water came in less than an hour time, waist height, and ain't nothing I could do. I rested TV up on the bureau.
It was a similar situation at the 3-bedroom house Donald Lloyd has lived in since he was 1 year old. Water in his Redland Acres home was knee-deep.
My TV, my fridge, and bed and all that is destroyed.
So where did you sleep last night? Did you stay home or did you have to go somewhere else?
No, I stayed and my son came and him sleep in the car together.
Residents blame successive governments claiming their communities do not have proper drainage systems. They're now calling on their respective members of parliament to provide assistance.
And he's not been answering his phone or nothing. Been down by his office, nobody there to reply. And he called himself the representative of this area.
Victorious! I tell them leave Pinewood side. They gone. They didn't leave him. He would have been right here, walking in the water with us.
Sometimes social service give me a little check for $80, but what you got to go through to get that $80 now, you're flat out and you're hungry now. If I go there tomorrow or the day, they say emergency stump, but I can take so long. I don't know, I'm going to probably have to go by my mother this evening and try to get something to eat.
Without some sort of help from government, residents say they have nowhere to lay their heads tonight. Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonnie Toot.
Well, a little farther east, many residents had similar stories about how their communities were impacted. Juan McCartney visited some of those areas today, and he filed this report.
Many sections of eastern New Providence were drenched to the bone, and flooded streets and failing streetlights only compounded an already tricky traffic situation. All throughout Seabreeze and the surrounding areas, roads and yards were filled with water as neighbors tried to help each other as best they could. But even the best efforts to wade through the water proved fruitless, particularly at the intersection of Yamacraw and Fox Hill Roads near the prison, the entrance to Treasure Cove subdivision, Rugby Drive, which was subject to civilian road closure through a hose tied to trees and pyramids placed in the road, and at the intersection of Eastern Road and Prince Charles Drive, which was simply impassable by regular vehicle. But even as we made our way west, we found more people trying to cope with the storm that caught them by surprise. The flooding also impacted this government apartment complex with 16 units today. Residents say they were waiting all morning for help, but none came. No power and no running water were what many residents of the Sutton Street government complex had to deal with since last night. Alberta Thompson, a retiree who lives on her own, said she woke to find the situation going from bad to worse and had to rely on the kindness of her neighbors.
The ladies this morning, the little young ladies from there, they came and they helped me to get out and take me over there because the water was so deep in the house.
So most of your stuff is ruined because of this?
Yeah, a lot of it ruined.
All we had to do, we had to get buckets and we had to thaw the water out. If we didn't thaw the water out, my daddy, all in there was packed with water. You understand me? Our chairs, the bed was floating on water, everything. Even the little children, we had to carry the little children up on the top floor for them not to get electrocuted. My daddy had to come downstairs and turn all the current up downstairs off. Everything, the damage to TV, the bed, the chair, the table, everything. My children in school buy their uniform, everything. You can't live like this.
And this is a government complex?
It's a government complex, and ain't not a government person come and check on us yet. Ain't none of us call to say how we doing or what's going on in our apartment yard. You get maggots floating around in the water. Little children walking in the water. You understand me? Cesspit running over. Lone stool up in the water we walking up in. They're seeing righteous.
Throughout the shared courtyard, all manner of debris floated, covered in dirt, and according to this resident who claimed they had no help, much more.
It's a good thing my brother was home and come upstairs to say, get up, get up. Everything destroyed. Everything. And the water out here, the tree cesspit open right to this door. Cesspit open to the side, cesspit in the back, so everything in this water right now.
And you haven't heard from anyone?
Nobody. We was trying to call. We called 919. They say nothing they could do because I was saying they got to send the fire engine to help suck some of the water them from at least do something. The police come, the ambulance come, but they stay as far as the corner. Nobody never come through.
Retiree Perry Watkins said he's lived in the complex for 2.5 years, and with gas tanks drifting through the muck, he admitted he's never seen the place like this.
Then when I wake up, all I see was water. The water was all the way up here, and then it keep flowing in. I had to come out, see my bed, everything, all wet up. I had to take the bed and turn it up against the wall. The stove, the water was all the way up. See, you can see the water mark right there.
Watkins said after he saw that, he got the power and went to stay with his neighbor upstairs. He said he'd been calling the social services office where they pay their rent all morning, and they promised to show, but up until around noon when we left, they didn't. Watkins lives next to this grandmother, whose granddaughter said she won't be staying in that home tonight.
I reached around about, that could have been about 8 o'clock around there, somewhere around there.
And what'd you find?
And they my grandchildren take out the rugs, put it out there. Look all about in there, all water.
It's still coming in. It's still coming in. Every time a car passes, the water comes in.
So if there goes channels.
So in all morning nobody's been by? Nobody's been by all morning?
No, sir.
Okay.
Social services.
No, sir. And they trying to do the drain. I don't know.
You have anywhere else for your grandmother to stay, or?
Yes, sir.
You're going to try to get her out of here?
Yes, sir.
When we spoke to Cherylee Kelly, Chief Welfare Officer at the Consumer Affairs Division of Social Services this afternoon, she said a team of social workers attached to the Area Urban Renewal Office visited the Sutton Street residents today and noted their concerns, which she said they're working to address. Reporting for NB12, I'm Juan McCartney.
Well, Assistant Commissioner of Police Leon Bethel responding to residents' claims that they called 911 and other emergency numbers for help during the storm, but it never came. Bethel and other senior officers were seen visiting areas with massive flooding in a fire truck this morning to assist where they could. He confirmed that some residents with emergencies were not able to get through to police because their communication system was down at one point.
Yeah, that is correct. The weather system caused some disruption to the communication system from headquarters, and that is being looked at now. It went down a few times and it came back, and at some point we had some challenges communicating also.
Well, despite this challenge, Bethel says police officers were able to respond to some emergencies.
Notwithstanding the weather, we were still potent in our responses. That did not hinder our response, because when things are a little rough, the police have to be out there to provide assistance, and we did that. There's no concerns about us going out in the weather. That's what we're here for.
And Bethel says Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade mobilized his senior command and deployed officers to all of the impacted areas. While in the wake of last night's storm, the Department of Meteorology is considering new ways to warn members of the public about oncoming storms. This is as the National Emergency Management Services issued a preliminary assessment of the damage sustained to homes, businesses, and vehicles. Christina McNeil has more in this report.
It's still too early to determine just how much severe overnight thunderstorms will cost homeowners, motorists, and the government. But now that the National Emergency Management Agency has completed its initial assessments, stakeholders have a better idea of some changes and improvements that can be made to better prepare Bahamians for the effects of severe storms. NEMA and the Department of Meteorology issued 5 severe weather warnings beginning at 3:15 Tuesday afternoon, warning residents of moist, unstable weather and severe thunderstorms. While those warnings cautioned residents to take action to protect life and property during storms, dozens of Bahamians took to social media, posting photos of their storm experience, including flooding in their homes and on the streets. Duty forecaster Wayne Neely says more effective methods of issuing warnings may need to be considered in the hopes of giving residents more time to prepare as a storm approaches.
Last year we talked about it, where we would issue, if there's a severe warning, we wanted to get agreement between BTC and Nassau Meteorological and NEMA. Whereas whenever there's a severe warning, it would be issued on your cell phone, but that has not happened. I think that's definitely would be a plus in terms of them disseminating the warnings. And that way, the normal average Bahamian citizen would know about the warning right away rather than waiting until a media house decides to disseminate on their broadcast station.
NEMA Director Captain Stephen Russell agrees new measures may need to be introduced, including the creation of an emergency alert system.
We have to look at other means because we rely on you. Do we have to now go into the social media network and invest in that? Or we're looking at Cable Bahamas to just stop all programming and put the weather up on their screens. Because persons don't just watch ZNS, they watch multiple amount of channels. So we just have to put a stop to their programming and interject. So, we've been doing it in the past. We have now stepped that up now to make sure persons, no matter what channel they're watching or which radio station they're listening to, there's this interruption now to get the message across. We now have to look into that option now.
Under the current system, the Met Department issues alerts to all media houses and NEMA, which further disseminates the alerts. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Works is looking at improving the maintenance system for storm drains. According to civil engineer Henry Moxey, pumping inches of flooded water has proven futile.
We have some over 5,000 wells throughout the length and breadth of New Providence that we are endeavoring to have cleaned on a consistent basis. Some that we have started, but unfortunately this weather has exacerbated the situation. But we also mobilize our crews immediately into areas that we could have brought some relief to.
Overnight, between the hours of 8 p.m. and 8 a.m., parts of New Providence were pummeled with record rainfall. The highest amount recorded was in Camperdown with 15.29 inches, followed by Fox Hill with 15 inches. The Elizabeth Estates Police Station with 12.79 inches. Parts of central and western New Providence received significantly less rainfall. 3.16 inches were recorded at Stapleton Gardens and 4.35 inches at Lynden Pinling International Airport. And according to Neely, there may be even more rain in the forecast for Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Bimini.
What we had mid to upper level surface, mid to upper level trough, that went over the year, and most of it's now east of the Bahamas. So by tonight, early tomorrow morning, it should be out of the year completely. Looking at the radar and satellite information, they definitely will have severe flooding, especially in Andros, Exuma, Eleuthera, and Abaco and those islands, and especially islands in the northwest Bahamas.
NEMA stakeholders are advising residents to move with caution in areas that are still flooded, to boil city water before using it, and get rid of standing water as soon as possible. Reporting for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.
Meantime, Prime Minister Perry Christie briefed Parliament today on the storm.
Significant numbers of Bahamians have suffered significant damage to their homes. The assessments will be made, and we, in fact, will be able to communicate to Parliament.
Christie said at recent conferences here and abroad, he's tried to convey the challenges the country faces in these kinds of situations.
I have tried to remind listeners, as I try to remind Bahamians, there is no country that we could model ourselves after in this region and even in this hemisphere. That the excessive difficulties our country will have in being able to install and maintain the infrastructure that is so necessary and vital to development of our country, because of the necessity to duplicate infrastructure island by island.